Imagine inventing something that promises to make an entire country richer, and instead, it destroys your bank, ruins your reputation, and nearly costs you your life. That's how this story begins. In the 1600s, Sweden was one of Europe's great powers. But it had a problem. Wars had drained its reserves of silver and gold. What Sweden did have was copper. A lot of it. So the government made a bold decision. If silver was scarce, copper would become money. On paper, it made sense. In real life, it was chaos. Copper is far less valuable than silver. So to make a coin worth anything, it had to be enormous. Sweden's money became slabs of metal. Some weighed nearly 20 kilograms. Buying groceries meant lifting heavy plates. Buying a house meant loading a wagon. Money wasn't just inconvenient. It was slowing the entire economy. Sweden needed a solution. That's when Johan Palmstruch appeared. He was a banker from abroad, familiar with modern banking in Amsterdam. In 1657, he convinced the Swedish crown to let him open a private bank in Stockholm. It was called Stockholm's Banco. At first, it worked like any other bank. But Palmstruch understood the real problem. It wasn't money itself. It was the weight. So he asked a dangerous question. What if people didn't move metal at all? In 1661, his bank issued something new. Paper notes. Each note was a promise. Bring this paper back, and the bank would give you copper. People loved it. Trade became easier. Business moved faster. Palmstruch became a national hero. But success created temptation. Palmstruch realized something powerful. Not everyone would come back to redeem their copper at the same time. So the bank printed more notes than it could actually honor. Money was being created from trust alone. For a while, no one noticed. Then whispers began. There were too many notes. Too little copper. Panic spread. People rushed to the bank, paper in hand, demanding metal. The vaults were empty. Stockholm's Banco collapsed. Paper money seemed like a failed experiment. Palmstruch was arrested, blamed for the disaster, and sentenced to death, though the sentence was later reduced. It looked like the end. But Sweden had learned something crucial. The problem wasn't paper money. The problem was who controlled it. In 1668, the government made a quiet but world-changing decision. They took over the failed bank and rebuilt it, not as a private business, but as a public institution under parliamentary control. They called it the Bank of the Estates of the Realm. Today, we know it as Sveriges Riksbank. This was the world's first central bank. Its mission was simple and revolutionary: protect the value of money and stabilize the economy. No reckless printing. No private risk-taking. Money was no longer something you dug out of the ground. It was something managed by authority. Other nations were watching. England followed in 1694. Then others across Europe. What began as a solution to heavy copper coins became the foundation of modern finance. Today, when central banks raise interest rates, print money, or step in during crises, they are using a power born in Sweden more than 350 years ago. The story began with money that was too heavy. It passed through ambition, failure, and panic. And it ended with a realization. Money was too powerful to be left to chance. That realization gave birth to the first central bank and to the global financial system we live in today.